Okay, so I forgot to hit record, but we just went over vertex form, and you can pause the video and take a look at all of these examples, but we were able to talk about all the different parts of vertex form. All right, one question from the chat, does K flip at all?
No.
No, what you see is what you get, okay? For K, if it's positive, it's up, negative, down. There's no flipping involved. So notice you only flip numbers when they're located where?
And H.
So inside of
The parentheses.
the parentheses, yeah. And that happens in factored form as well. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, any other questions? Anything before we move on? All right, cool. Okay, couple of problems. Hopefully we can get these done pretty quick. I'm gonna give you guys 30 seconds. So get used to doing these pretty quick. 30 seconds, put it in the poll, and then we will go over it together. All right, that's 30 seconds. Guys, I need way more people to answer. That was only 4 people. Get it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. Okay. So I'm gonna not show the answers yet. Let's talk about it. 2 units to the left.
2
6 units
down.
down. Okay. If I'm going to the left, that means h is -2. But what do you have to do when it's in the equation?
Flip.
Flip it. You got to flip. So it's going to be h plus 2 in the parentheses. That was the biggest misconception. So is it B?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Is it C?
It can't be C because it's in factored.
Oh, what's wrong with these two?
It's in factored.
Those are in factored form. Those are not even in vertex form. Does factored form give you the vertex?
It gives you
something else, huh?
Yeah, something else.
Okay, so it's A. Do not be fooled by factored form. How many x's do we see here? 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. I don't see any exponents. That's factored form. Vertex form only has one x, and it does have that exponent. So you got to be super, super careful. Now let me show you the results. You don't have to out yourself.
No, I didn't choose B. I chose A.
Oh, okay. But if you made that mistake, this is the last time you're allowed to make it. Because now you know. And now we're going to learn from that mistake. And that's it, okay? Any questions on that? All right, cool. Next one. Same idea, 30 seconds. Try to do it as quickly as you can. See what you get. And go.
It wasn't this. Okay.
You might have seen it before.
Yeah.
$15 seconds remaining. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much better. I will show it this time. So there you go. Much better. Most people chose the correct response, but of course, I mean, that was only half of you, 50%. So definitely still want to go over this one. Now, it's D, but let's talk about why it's D. Where is the vertex when you look at it on the graph?
1 comma -2.
Ooh, be careful.
I meant -2 comma 1.
There you go. -2 comma 1. So what does that mean? That means H is -2, K is +1, but what do you do with that -2?
What?
You flip it, yeah. So over here, it's flipped. It becomes +2. Now, why is it not B? What's wrong with B?
Why is it not
The
B?
one?
1?
The -1, right? So does K flip at all?
No.
No. What else is wrong with B? And A? What's wrong with those two?
A, when you flip it, it turns to a positive and -1.
Even out, there's something else that's wrong with it that D has.
It's not reflected.
Yeah. So the other part of this is that this is facing downward. Since it's downward, we know that A should be negative. A is less than 0. It's got to be a negative number. And in answer choice D, you see that negative right out here in the front. So that's how you know it's definitely D, the -1. So putting it all together. Any questions on this one? All right, cool. Last one, I think. So this one was from your quiz. This one was from the quiz. I'm about to go over the answer. So again, if you didn't do the quiz right now, you should have already done it. Otherwise, starting right now, you can no longer be graded for it. All right, go ahead. Same idea, 30 seconds. Here we go. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Good. 73%. Even better. That's good. We're improving. So I did have a couple who did not choose the right response. So let's take a quick look at it. What's the value of H?
+2.
+2. So that means I'm going 2 units to the
Right.
right.
Whoever didn't pick B, you're trash.
K equals +1. So that's 1 unit. Where?
Up.
Up. Okay, we don't change the value of K. K, what you see is what you get. +1, we go up. So it's answer choice B. Okay, 2 units to the right, 1 unit up. Any final questions? I think this is the last one. Any final questions? Yep, on vertex form. Yeah, nobody chose D, so. All right, no, that's it. Let's move on. Standard form. What does standard form tell you?
Y-intercept.
Good. This is where we can look at the y-intercept. It's right here. What else does standard form tell you?
A.
Yeah. And is A something different than vertex form or the same thing as vertex form?
Same thing.
Same thing, yeah. Matter of fact, I'm going to copy and paste exactly what I wrote because it's the same exact thing. Here we go. Perfect. Same thing, direction and width. Does it tell you anything else?
That's it.
That's it. But
It's a constant.
C is a constant, that's true. Okay, so just by looking at it, doesn't tell you anything else. But is there something I can use? Is there a nice little formula that maybe I can use to figure something else out?
Yes.
What's that formula called?
H equals negative blank divided by 2A.
Okay, so that is my vertex formula.
Yes.
H equals negative B over 2A. And we can use that formula to figure out where the vertex is located. All right, any questions on the vertex formula or why we use it? Awesome. Okay, so now looking at these three examples, I just want to know the y-intercept and the width and direction. So we're not going to use the vertex formula yet. I just want to know what I see. So number one, what do we see? What do I know just by looking?
We know that it is stretched.
Is it? What's A?
A is
It's
one.
neutral.
Oh, neutral. Oh,
A is 1, yeah. So no stretching. It's neutral. All right, what else? Upward or downward?
upward.
Upward.
And 9 is our y-intercept.
Good. Do we know anything else just by looking?
No.
No. If you want to find the vertex, you can use the vertex formula, but just by looking, that's all. Okay, number 2. What do I know? Think about it. It's a little bit different, but think about it. What's one thing I know about number 2?
We know our A, which is stretched and upwards.
Good. So it's a 4, right? A equals 4. So that's stretched and that's upward. What's my y-intercept?
0.
0. Remember, there's a 0 here that it's there. We wouldn't write it. There's no point in writing it because 0 just is nothing. So when you don't see a number there, that's a 0. So if the y-intercept is 0, that tells me that I'm going to be at 0, 0. What is that point called?
Origin.
It's at the origin. Any questions on number 2? Awesome, awesome. Number 3?
Our A is reflected and is stretched.
Good. Also stretched
Downward.
and downward. Good. Beautiful. And what else? Where's the y-intercept?
10.
10. So that's 0, 10. And the first one, that would be 0, 9. Questions on standard form? Think about it. We're going to do the same thing, couple practice problems, and then we'll move on to factored form. All right, cool. All right, this was Was this on the quiz? No, this was not on the quiz. All right, but same idea. Try it out. 30 seconds. Ready, go. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ha, y'all got tricked. Okay. So I chose this one for a specific reason, and that's because we keep saying reflected, but I've been a bad teacher and I haven't been stressing what you're being reflected over. Am I reflecting across the x-axis or am I reflecting across the y-axis? So let's think about it really quick.
You show the answers afterwards.
I'll show the answers afterwards. Yep. Okay, here's my parent function. That's what it looks like normally. And if I'm flipping something and it's going to be facing downward, okay, think about it. When you reflect something, the axis that you reflected over is like your mirror line. So which one's my mirror line? Is it the x-axis? Am I flipping down over the x-axis? Or is it the y-axis? Am I flipping around the y-axis?
Why?
No, it's x. Think about it. Think about what this graph is doing to get down underneath. It's going which way? Downward, right? On both sides. So what is it jumping over to get there?
The X.
The x-axis, okay? So because think of this line right here as the line that you got to jump over or flip over when you reflect. So what happens is you flip over that line and now that line becomes the reflection line because now it's symmetrical on the top and the bottom over the x-axis. So it's the x-axis, not the y-axis. Now, most of you chose C. I'll show you. Most of you chose C because maybe you thought it was the y-axis, but it's not. It is the x-axis. So it's D. So because it's -1, because A equals -1, -1, it's a reflection across the x-axis. So if you weren't so sure about that, I want you guys to take a moment and write it down in your notebooks, just as a reminder of which axis you're reflecting over. And why is it translated down 2 units, by the way?
It is a -k.
-k, yeah. -2. All right. So questions on this one? Questions on reflections?
I only thought it was the y-axis because of f of x.
Because of f of x. So f of x is located at the vertex of 0, 0. So the axis of symmetry of f of x on its own. Okay, I think I see what you mean. So if f of x is all alone, just chilling, the axis of symmetry is the y-axis because it's the same on the left and the right. Okay, but when you flip it over, when I say I need to reflect this, I'm reflecting it over the x-axis because now it's going over the x-axis. So that, yeah, I can see where there could be confusion there. So just make sure you know the difference. If there's just one parabola, we're not changing anything about it, the axis of symmetry goes down the middle. But if you're turning it over, you're flipping it over the x-axis. All right, any questions on that? Okay. All right, next one. Okay, this one's I'm gonna give you guys a little bit longer on this one. I'll give you guys 45 seconds. Ready, set, go. 45 seconds. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm not going to show this one either. Haha. Y'all know what that means. Okay. They're giving you 2 clues. They're saying that A and C are both less than 0. A and C.
Oh.
Someone didn't read all the way.
I
Okay.
did all the way, but I got sort of confused. I was just using too much of my brain.
If A is less than 0, what does that mean about your graph?
It's gonna go downwards.
It's facing downwards. Okay. What does the C represent?
The coefficient? I mean, the
Mhm.
y-intercept.
The y-intercept. So if C is less than 0, that means that your y-intercept,
It's gonna be downward of 0.
it's going to be less than 0. What type of number is less than 0?
Negative.
Is negative. So the y-intercept is negative. So take a look at where the y-intercept is located on all of these graphs. The y-intercept is the same as the vertex. It's at the same place as the vertex. If the y-intercept is supposed to be negative and the graph is supposed to be facing downwards, which answer choice is it actually?
C.
C.
I chose D.
A lot of people chose D. A lot of people. Let me show you. So D was the winning answer, but it was wrong. Why is D wrong?
Because the y-intercept is actually at the origin.
At the origin. We knew that it had to be negative. Negative and facing downward. So B also has a negative y-intercept, but B is facing upward, so it's not that one either. And A, the y-intercept is positive. So 0, yeah, 0 is not a negative number. That's a good point. Questions on this one? Think about it deeply because most people got it wrong. Questions, questions. Going once. Going twice. Yep, 0 is a neutral number. All right. One more, I think. No, actually, let me do the two more questions. Okay, this one I want to do together because I just want to make sure we know how to do this one. Also because it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to make these a little bit darker. So just give me a moment to do that, and then we'll go over it. Okay. Okay, Here we go. So here's my equation. I'm in standard form. What does standard form tell you again?
Standard form tells you the y-intercept.
The y-intercept. So I know that my y-intercept is positive 7. Oops, y-intercept is 7. Okay, let me take a look. Is this going through the 7? What's the y-intercept of this graph?
4.
4. So that's out. Cool. How about this one? Is that one going through the 7?
No.
No, that's out.
Yes.
The
Oh,
7
but
on the
which,
x-axis.
which 7 is this one going through? The 7 on the,
Y-intercept.
that's not my y-intercept. What's this?
Oh, X, I meant.
That's, yeah. So this is the x-intercept, not the y-intercept. This would be the y-intercept. So that's also kind of a tricky thing that sometimes happens. So make sure you know which intercept you're looking at. So it's not B. This one, I drew it a little bit funky. Let me try that again. Is this one going through the 7?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It is. It's a little hard to tell, but it is. I could zoom in a little bit more, but it's
okay,
a little blurry. Yeah. So this one's good so far. And D, is that one going through the 7?
no,
No.
it's going to the
No.
9.
No, it's going through like 10, I think. So, okay, cool. Just by looking at that y-intercept, you can get your answer. However, let's say that, there were two answer choices that were kind of close and you couldn't really tell. What's another thing that you could do if you're in standard form?
Vertex formula.
Vertex formula. So I just wanted to try that really quickly together. So if you were stuck between two answer choices, what you have to do is use the vertex formula. H equals negative B over 2A. What's my B and what's my A?
Your B is -8, so it will be negative times -8.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2 parentheses 4.
A is 4. Okay, -8 would be what?
+8.
Positive 8. 2 times 4,
8.
also 8. 8 divided by 8
1.
is 1. After you find the value of H, what do you do with it? Who can remind me? I know H, but what do I still need?
Plug
The K?
I still need the K, so I'm going to plug in my H into the function. So f of 1, 4 times 1 squared minus 8 times 1 plus 7. 1 to the power of 1 is 1, so 4 times 1 is 4. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. 4 minus 8, I'm going through this a little bit quickly, but 4 minus 8 is negative 4. And what's negative 4 plus 7?
3.
3. So my vertex is 1, 3. Now, obviously, in this case, we already knew the answer was C, but when I go look, there it is, 1, 3. So if you were stuck between two different choices, if you use the vertex formula, you'll be able to figure out which one it actually is. Questions on this vertex formula? Take 30 seconds, write it all down, think about it, make sure you understand. Because I'm going to have you guys use it on the next problem. All right, questions going once, twice. All right, so this one was from the quiz. All right, and then for this one, you will have to use the vertex formula. You can't do it just by looking at the y-intercept. So I'm going to give you guys a full minute. Go ahead and start. I'm going to add 30 seconds more. So right now you have 45 seconds remaining.
Are you able to zoom in?
I'll zoom in a little, yeah. There you go. All right, 10 seconds, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. All right. So a lot of fewer people answered it this time. And this is interesting. A and B were tied. And that's pretty, I kind of saw that one coming. Because if you chose A or B, that's a good guess. If you chose C, not to call that one person out, but C is a bad guess, and I'll explain why. A and B, good guesses. C and D, bad guesses. Let's look at why that is. All right. So what's one thing I know just from looking at the equation? Because we can get pretty close to our answer just from what we see. What do I know? Y-intercept is -5, good. -5. And couple people also told me about that value of A. What's A?
1, neutral.
What's A?
Neutral.
It's
Neutral. 1.
It's not just 1.
Oh, -1. Oops.
-1, yeah. So A is -1, which means it's neutral, but it's also what?
It is also facing downward.
Facing downward, it's flipped. So based on that information, C and D are garbage answers. Because C and D are not flipped, and they have the wrong y-intercept. They have +5. And we know it should be -5. So between C and D, that would be a bad guess. That's when I say you have to make, if you're guessing on a test, make it a good guess. That's a bad guess. So if you weren't sure between A and B, that's where, what do you have to do now? Because they both have y-intercept is -5. They're both flipped. So how do I figure out which one it is?
You have to do the I'm sorry, the vertex formula.
The vertex formula. Good. Here we go. H equals -b over 2a. So what's my A? What's my B?
B is 4.
B is 4.
A is -1. Oops, I messed up.
And A is -1. Uh-oh.
I messed up.
You're not the only one. So -4 over -2. What does that give me?
-4 over -2, +2.
+2.
Okay, never mind. I'm right.
Oh, okay. So H is +2. Now I can go plug it in, but I can already tell it's going to be B because when I look at B right here, this is 2, -1. When I look at A, This is -2, comma -1. So I already know it's going to be b, but let me go ahead and plug it in just to know for sure.
Actually, I think that was just sort of me being clumsy because I did -4 divided by 2 parentheses 1. I didn't add the negative and then
And
when
then you got the wrong answer correctly.
yes, and
Okay.
then I did -4 divided by 2 positive. Positive 2, and I got 2.
Oops. Sometimes you get lucky. All right. 2 to the power of 2 is 4, but I still have a negative symbol, so that comes down. So -4
No.
plus 8 minus 5. -4 plus 8 gives me 4. 4 minus 5, -1. So 2 comma -1, B is correct. So David, you got it right. Good job.
A lot of oopsies I did. I keep on forgetting to add the negatives. I did 4, positive 4 plus 8, -5.
Yeah, that negative sign, it's there. It's
But
there
I
for a
didn't
reason.
write like y intercept, and I was confused. I'm like, why isn't it at the 7 or something?
Oops. Okay, questions on this one. See what it takes. You can get a good guess just by looking, but if you want to get the correct answer, you would need to use the vertex formula. So how do we feel about the vertex formula? How do we feel about this problem? Any questions? I think this was the most incorrect problem on the quiz, so I want to make sure we understand. All right, moving on. We're doing great on time, guys. Factored form. Finally, we've gotten to the final form. What do we know from factored form?
We know nothing.
That's not true. We know
we
lots of
know
things.
A, but
We know A.
never mind. We know the x-intercept. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So A, does A tell me anything different from all the other ones?
No.
No. A is the same A as before, so I'm going to copy and paste it. Same A, same information. Okay. Then we know the x-intercepts. So quick review, because I know we just did this on Friday. These two binomials, what are they each called? Look back in your notes. We wrote this down already, so if you have it in your notes, what are each of those binomials called?
Factors. Okay.
Those are factors. Good. Those are my factors. And then what can I do with my factors?
You could do x plus m equals 0. Then you have to do the I mean the distribution.
Distribution. I'm not distributing anything right now.
No, wait, I don't know. You have to do
xn times x plus n.
I'm
Thank
not.
you, Christopher.
Nope. Both of y'all are wrong though. I'm not foiling. I am not foiling right now because
I know what you're supposed to do, but I don't know how to say it in words.
Karina said it in the chat. We're going to subtract m from both sides. Because then what do I get? X equals -m. Same thing over here. X plus n equals 0. What do I do to both sides? Yeah, I know. That's why I'm reviewing it. Everyone, when they look at this, they're like, oh, I want to foil it right now. But that's not what we're doing yet. We're doing that soon, but not yet. So then on this side, I do the same thing. I set it equal to 0. I subtract n. And I get x equals -n. And these are my two what?
Exponents. I mean x-intercepts.
X-intercepts. Okay. So that is what we do with factored form. Now let's take a look at a couple examples. Number 1, what do I know about this function? Let's talk width and direction. So what's the value of A? What's the value of A?
The value of A is 1.
1. So width and direction, right? There's an invisible 1 in the front.
It's neutral and it is facing upwards.
Neutral, upwards. Cool. Okay, and now these are my factors. I can take each of my factors, set it equal to 0. And what would happen in this one? I would add 10 to both sides. So what's my x-intercept? What's 0 plus 10?
Positive 10.
Positive 10. So this is the long way to do it, because really, what can you do? You can look at the parentheses. If
And
this is
just flip
minus,
signs.
you flip the signs. So my x-intercepts are positive 10 and
Positive 6.
positive 6. All right. So you can kind of do that a little bit more easily. You don't really have to do all that little bit of math. But if you want to do it just to be sure of your answer, then definitely do it. Okay, number 2, width and direction. A is negative 3.
But width and direction. Oops, I'm sorry. It is compressing and it's facing downward.
You are 50% correct.
Oh, it's not compressing. It's not a fraction. It's stretching.
It's stretching. Good. Okay. Stretching and downwards. And then what are my 2 x-intercepts?
-1 and positive 3.
So -1, -1 comma 0, and positive 3 comma 0. That's the quick way. You just look at the number and flip the sign. And then finally, this one's a little bit trickier, so I want everyone to take a look at number 3. What's a little different about number 3?
Number 3 is 1x.
It's 1x. There's a 1. So what's the value of A? This is not a trick question. Remember, A is going to be just a number. And what's the number in the front?
1.
Yeah, 1. A is 1. So it's neutral. It's upwards. But what is the lonely x? Tell me.
Oh, it's 0.
0. Yeah. How many x-intercepts are there in this
3.
example?
3.
3. I have 0 comma 0. And what are my other 2? Good. Positive 5 comma 0 and
-4.
negative 4 comma 0. So there's 3 x-intercepts in this one. -4. So don't forget this lonely little x right here on the outside. It's not a coefficient, it's one of your factors.
It is a cubic.
Yeah, this is a cubic graph. So this is one of those that's going to look like a snake. And we'll see a couple examples in a moment. All right, so factored form tells you your x-intercepts. Quick review. I think we have time really, really quickly. What are different words for x-intercept that we've talked about?
Solutions, factors.
There's 2 more.
Zeros.
Zeros. And one more starts with an R. Roots, there it is. Okay. So that's just a bunch of different words that all mean x-intercept. So if you see those words, you know they're talking about the x-intercepts. Okay, that's a lot. Let's do a couple problems. All right, so this is something that we actually did in class already, but I do want to do it again to just make sure that we understand. Remember that if you have a parabola, let me just do a quick picture. Here's my parabola. Let's say this is the x-axis, y-axis. Okay, just a random parabola. It doesn't matter what numbers are, but we know that it has these x-intercepts, and there's a axis of symmetry, and the axis of symmetry, what does it do to the shape, to the parabola?
What was the question again?
What does the axis of symmetry do to the parabola?
It makes a line in the middle.
Yeah, so it cuts it right in half, right? Let me do a slightly better line. Hold on.
Oh, that's an easier way to find the h and the k.
Yes, so your axis of symmetry cuts the parabola in half, which means that the x-intercepts have to be an equal amount to the right and to the left of the axis of symmetry. Okay, so if the axis of symmetry is 3, look at over here, the line x equals 3 is the axis of symmetry. What could be the x-intercept of that parabola? So you're looking for a pair of numbers that are equally apart from the line x equals 3. So whatever they are, they have to be equal on the left and to the right of the number 3. So start looking at those answer choices. Think about it for about 30 seconds, but then we're going to do it together.
Didn't we already do this? So if we already know the answer, we just put it.
If you already know the answer, that's fine, but just make sure that you know how to get the answer, okay? Take another 15 seconds. Okay, here we go. So if the line x equals 3 is the axis of symmetry, let me draw this out so you can see what it looks like visually. 1, 2, 3. I'll do a few more. Okay. If the axis of symmetry is down the middle, and the middle is the 3, let's look at answer choice A. -1 and +7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are those two numbers an equal amount from the 3?
Yes.
Yes. How far away is -1? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 away, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. How far away is +7? 1, 2, 3, 4 in the other direction. So they're both 4 units away from the axis of symmetry. So A is actually the correct answer. But let's look at why the other ones are not correct. So, oops. All right, so answer choice B, -1 and +5. So here's -1 again. We already know that that's 1, 2, 3, 4 units away. But +5, how many units away is that?
2.
2. That's only 2 units away. So that's not the middle, right? Not the middle. It's not equal. Answer choice C is even worse. What's going on here? Answer choice C is telling me to look at -3 and +3.
It's right on the x.
Yeah, Right, that would be right on the axis of symmetry. What is in between -3 and +3?
0.
0. So that's not going to help us either. That's not correct. And then finally, -8. Ooh, we're all the way over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. -8 and -2. What's in between -8 and -2? Is it +3? In other words, is this possibly correct? Can this possibly be right? No, not at all.
No.
The number between these two would be 1, 2, 3, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, -5. So again, that's not right. So with all of these, we're just trying to figure out what's in between, because we know that the two x-intercepts have to be the same distance away from the axis of symmetry, from the vertex. Questions on that? Okay, cool. Here's another. Try it on your own. 30 seconds. Try to do it quick. 30 seconds. Ten seconds remaining. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Let me show the results. Not everybody voted, but those who did vote, the majority of you got the answer right. It is B. And there's just one little trick, right? So we know that we have +1, -1, -3. But when you look at your answer choices, what do you have to make sure you do in your head?
Flip the sign.
Flip the sign, yeah. So x plus 3, I don't have a lot of room, but let me bring this down. That means x equals -3. X plus 1, that's -1. X minus 1, that's +1. So that's the only one that had all three in the correct sign. So you just got to remember to flip that sign, and you're good to go. How do we feel about this one? Any questions? Okay. Let's do another. This one was from the quiz. This one was actually from the quiz, so go ahead. Take a look, try it out, 30 seconds. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, not bad at all again. So most people seem to get it right. Here we go. Answer choice A was the correct response. Couple people might have been a little tripped up by the negative in the front, but does the negative in the front do anything about the x-intercepts? No. So that negative, you can basically ignore it, okay? We can ignore the negative because it's not one of the factors. So here we have -3, +2, and +4. So when we look at answer choice A, oops, this gives me x equals -3 this gives me x equals positive 2, and this gives me x equals positive 4. So you just got to remember to flip the signs, and you can ignore if there's a negative in the front or another number in the front. You can pretty much ignore it because all we care about is those 3 factors. Questions on this one? All right, we only got 3 more to go. We're almost there, guys. You guys are doing really well today. So the last 3 problems I have, basically what these problems do is they put everything all together. So now we're going to practice how to convert from vertex form to standard form, factored form to standard form, and that's where we're finally going to be able to FOIL. So I know you guys have been like on the edge of your seats, like you're like, Miss, when am I going to get to FOIL? It's like my favorite thing in the world. Well, the answer is now. So this one was also from your quiz. Which of the following functions have the same y-intercept as the function below? So here's our function. What is the y-intercept?
Y-intercept is 12.
It's 12. Okay. Now, if you want it to be the same y-intercept, what form do these have to be in so that you can see what the y-intercept is?
Standard.
They have to be in standard form. Does any other form tell you the y-intercept?
No.
Nope. So out of my options, is there any that's already in standard form that I can circle?
Yes.
Which one?
D.
D. D is good. D's got the correct y-intercept. Is there anything that I can get rid of?
C.
C. C is in standard form, but what's the y-intercept for C?
6.
It's 6. So we know that this is incorrect. But everything else, what am I going to have to do?
Simplify.
Simplify, turn it into standard form. So let's get right to it. Let's start with A.
A is correct.
A is correct. What do you have to do to turn this into standard form?
Turn it into, FOIL.
FOIL. So foiling, here we go. X times X. X times X, 2. X to the power 2. X times negative 4, I get negative 4x. X times negative 3, I get negative 3x. And then negative 3 times negative 4, what does that give me?
Positive 12.
Positive 12. And when you simplify, there it is. There is the y-intercept, which is correct. So A is good. B, however, it could be correct, but we got to check. I'm going to leave. Oh, no. I swear, this happens at least once a day. It just quits on me. Oh, no, it deleted everything. Okay. Well, we know A is good. Let's check out B. If I go to factor this, I'm going to get x squared minus 5x minus 2x, and then what's negative 2 times negative 5?
10.
10, positive 10. So this is x squared minus 7x plus 10. And that's the y-intercept, and that's not what we're looking for. So B is also out. Okay, questions so far on A or B? So when it's in factored form, you just FOIL and then see what you get. Now, E and F, they're both in, what form is this?
Vertex?
That's vertex form, right? So vertex form is kind of similar. The process is kind of similar, but there is a couple more steps. So let's start with E. We'll just write it. Okay, so x minus 1 squared plus 12. What do I need to do first?
You write Another parentheses, x minus 1.
Yeah. So remember, the power of 2 just means I'm multiplying it times itself. X minus 1 times itself. Now what can I do?
Distribute.
Not just distribute, what's it called?
Foil.
Now we can FOIL, yeah. So I would get x squared minus 1x minus 1x. Negative 1 times negative 1, positive 1. Bring down my 12 and combine like terms. So I got x squared minus 2x, 1 plus 12, 13. Does this have the right y-intercept?
No.
Nope. So it's not E. And you got to be careful because this 12 right here might mislead you. You see a 12 and you might be like, oh, that's the same y-intercept, but that's not the y-intercept. What's this? What's this 12 representing?
12 represents the K.
The K. So that's not part of the y-intercept, that's part of the vertex. Gotta be careful. All right, and then finally F, very similar, we're in vertex form. And we're gonna do the same steps. Rewrite it so you can see both of your binomials. FOIL, here we go. X squared minus 2x, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And we're gonna combine everything. X squared minus 4x, 4 plus 8, I get 12. So F was also correct. So it was A, D, and F. Questions on this one? This one was also kind of tough, but I saw a good amount of correct responses on the quiz for this one. So how do we feel? Any questions? Anything you want me to explain one more time, real quick? All right. All right, almost there, guys. Which of the following statements are true about the following function? Okay, what form is this in?
Vertex.
Vertex form, right? So if this is in vertex form, what do I know about it?
We know
If it's in vertex form, what do I know?
we know A, we know K, we know H.
Yeah. So what's A?
One.
A is 1. So this is facing which way?
It is
Up.
facing up.
Upwards. Upwards and neutral. And where's the vertex?
The vertex is at positive 4, comma, negative 1.
Okay. So this vertex, is the vertex going to be a minimum value or is it going to be a maximum value? Think about the shape of the graph, the way it's facing. Will the vertex be at the tippity top of the function or will the vertex be at the tippity bottom of the function? Which way does the graph face? Upwards or downwards?
Upward.
Upwards. So will the
Upwards.
vertex be a maximum or a minimum?
Maximum.
Do we agree?
Because if it was, I think if it was minimum, it would be like, oh no, it is minimum. Maximum is when it's downwards.
So this is upwards. So the vertex is at the,
Minimum.
it's at the tippity bottom.
Bottom.
That's a minimum. We haven't talked about that in a while. So the minimum, okay, the minimum is at which value? Remember, minimum is the y value. So where's the minimum?
-1.
-1. So taking a look at, there's a few answer choices that we can get rid of and one that we can circle. What can I get rid of?
We could get rid of F. We
Mm-hmm.
could get rid of C.
Mm-hmm.
And we could get rid of B.
Mm-hmm. And what can I circle?
You could circle E.
Good.
I mean, yeah, E. We could
Yeah.
circle an A.
Careful. What is A telling you about?
The intercept.
Which intercept?
H. I mean the X.
X. Do I know anything about the x-intercept?
No.
No. Okay. But remember that the x-intercepts are going to be, so if this is my vertex is 4, -1, I'm going to have x-intercept somewhere over here and somewhere over there. Will the x-intercept be at the 3 or the 4? If this is already 4, what makes more sense?
-4 because it's reflecting.
But there's no negative.
3, 4.
So if this is 4, can this also be 4?
No.
Oh no, they can't.
They can't, right?
No.
So which one is it going to be?
3.
X equals 3.
3. So like it'll probably be 3 and then this would be 5, -0.
Oh, I thought 4 was at. Okay.
We're already at the 4. So that's the tricky part. This one was tricky, guys. This one was definitely tricky. So you just had to realize that you can't be at the vertex and at the x-intercept at the same time, right? If you're already at the 4 over here, the x-intercepts are going to be a little to the right and a little to the left. They can't be on the same spot. All right. So questions on this one?
So if we continue up, for
Mhm.
example, if we go to the right, it will be 5, 6, 7, and if we go to the left, it will be 3, 4.
2, 1.
Oh, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I thought it would like continue upwards.
Okay. All right. We're almost out of time, but let's see if we can do one last one. Which function is both equivalent to this one and reveals the minimum? So remember, the minimum is located at the
Tippity bottom.
tippity bottom, and another name for that point is the,
Origin.
not always, the tippity top and the tippity bottom are also called the,
Y-intercept.
not always, careful,
Vertex?
vertex. Yeah, that's the vertex. It's the same thing. So if you say minimum or maximum, that's vertex. Then which answer choices are out? Because we're looking for something that tells me the vertex. Which of them are not?
B, A, and B.
A and B, what form are those in?
Factored.
Those are factored. So those are not going to tell me the vertex. Only these two will. And how do I figure out if it's equivalent?
Have to make it into standard.
Turn it into standard form. So really quickly, I know we're almost out of time. I'll just do number C, letter C. Okay, x minus 3 times x minus 3 times itself. We FOIL x squared minus 3x minus 3x plus 9 minus 1. Combine like terms, x squared minus 6x. What's 9 minus 1?
9 minus 1 is 8.
So is it C?
Yo, what?
Yes, it is. It is C. All right, and obviously, yes, Bianca, I will do so. So that's all you got to do. You can always check answer choice D to see if it's correct, but it is not. All right, we got through a lot. I might bring this one back tomorrow so that we can spend a little more time on it. But thank you guys for staying here. There is no homework for the week, but there is another extra credit opportunity, which I will post about on Teams. Both this and the one that I gave last week are both due on Wednesday at midnight. So just remember, if you want to do extra credit, it's going to be due Wednesday at midnight, and you can only do extra credit if there are no Z's in your grade book. So just make sure that if you're missing any work at all, you make it up before you try the extra credit. All right, that is all for today. Have a nice day. I will see everyone tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Ms. Lopez. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Chicken wing.
Bye.